Right. Is it recording?
Yes, it's ready.
It's nice to finally meet you, Cristiano.
Oh, nice to meet you.
How's the tour gone so far then?
Oh, it's been very good.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. I mean, it's this period for us is pretty busy, and we are enjoying pretty much ourselves touring. And it's of course it's a little bit stressful.
Yeah.
But nothing better than touring,
Yeah, that's true. How do you feel? Well, you guys toured with Black Dahlia Murder and Skeleton Witch back in January. So obviously it's your second time back in the UK this year. How do you feel this tour compares to the tour you did with Black Dahlia?
It's pretty different. I mean, it's always it's always different to support other bands and to headline. It's something. It's different from several point of views. I mean, you play a different set.
Yeah.
You have a different amount of time to play, and of course you have different crowds. I mean, when you support other bands, especially as the ones you supported last time, you meet a lot of people you already know, but a lot of new people as well. And it's always interesting. Also, being on the road with American bands and different bands in general is always interesting. And in that case, for example, we already knew Black Dahlia. They are cool guys. We found ourselves so good.
Yeah.
And this time is like a sweet package as well. We find ourselves so good with the bands we're touring with.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. This next question is a fan question. Prior to releasing Oracles in 2009, you were signed with Neurotic Records. What drove you to make the switch over to Willowtip Records and then obviously later on to Nuclear Blast?
Back in the days, I mean, with Neurotic Records, we've been signed with Neurotic Records without releasing anything.
Yeah.
We actually released the first album under Willowtip Records.
Yeah.
At that time, Neurotic Records had some problems on the logistics, so we pretty much had this deal which included Willowtip Records.
Yeah.
For the American distribution and the North American distribution. So we directly switched into that since Neurotic had some little troubles on that time, and it was pretty much the same this kind of deal.
Yeah.
So and for about Nuclear Blast Records, we pretty much started talking with them after the EP Mafia, and we found ourselves on the same page on what we wanted and what we needed, and it felt pretty natural for us to make this choice, and we had the wonderful chance to work with a label like that, which is very good. We found ourselves so good with them. They are really prepared. They cover a lot more for about the promotion and for about that they support the band in a proper way.
Yeah. Right. Which band have you? Well, this is going back to what you were saying about touring earlier. Which band have you enjoyed the most touring with over the years?
This is a hard question. We toured with quite a few bands now, and I say that there's always something good about the bigger bands, because you always learn a lot from them. And when the people that play in a band are cool people, and when you can enjoy your time with them, it's even better. I have to say, until now, we always had great times with the bands we toured with.
Yeah.
And we toured with a lot of American bands, and they are pretty much different from the European bands because they have this different, idea of the business, and but it's always something new to everybody. It's always it's changing experiences, which is, I mean, the basics for our profession.
Yeah.
So I couldn't really say which is the best one. You know, there's always something I remember as a good memory about everyone we toured with.
Yeah.
I don't want to be politically correct, but it's like true. It's like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like similar style. See, yeah. I mean, I have to admit, you know, the first musician that I've interviewed so far enjoyed touring with. You know, well, enjoyed every band that they've toured with, really.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's as long as there's nobody treating you as a, you know, without respect or something, then you enjoy playing specifically with bigger bands. For example, for us, it has been so important touring with Suffocation.
Yeah.
Because we toured with them twice, once in Europe and once in North America, and we learned a lot from them. Or I don't know, our first big tour, I would say, in Europe has been with Vader and Marduk.
Yeah.
And they gave us a lot from the professional point of view. So there's always something, as I was saying, you know.
Yeah. What have you learned from one album release to the next, and where do you think it will lead to in the future?
I would say that we have, in our mind, we have a specific path.
Yeah.
You know, a specific evolution. For what about the sound? What about the band idea? And what we are trying to do is, you know, making steps forward every time we get a chance to. And what we've done until now is pretty much it. I mean, the band started with the basic idea of melting two different worlds, musical worlds, which are the extreme metal world and I would say the death metal and extreme metal in general world, and then the classical and symphonic music influenced world. And what we wanted to do was pretty much try to find a way of doing it in a personal way.
Yeah.
So in our minds, that's a natural path, I would say. You know, from the first album through the EP we released to the last album that we have out, which is more symphonic.
Yeah.
Everything is meant to be, you know, like steps forward into this kind of idea. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Just going back to what you were saying about like the mixture of classical and symphonic with extreme metal. When you look at the songs on the Agony album or the songs on the Oracles album, there's like a great difference in speed and orchestral influence. What do you feel you were trying or hoping to achieve? You know, that sort of like great differentiation.
I would say that Agony is more. It's more near to what we have in mind when we think about an album, Fleshgod Apocalypse.
Yeah.
It's like what we try to reach is the idea of a symphony through the sound of extreme metal.
Yeah.
You know? Which is a concept which has a meaning from the beginning to the end, which flows into several songs. It depends from, you know, of course, how many songs you can record on a CD. But of course, it's some kind of idea that comes from what in the two centuries ago musicians were used to compose as symphonies, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like operas, I would say. Operas or symphonies are something, from this point of view, similar. The schemas are more outside of the song. It's not really one song after the other. It's something more unique. I mean, it's a concept coming all together.
Right. I've noticed recently, like specifically on YouTube anyway, that people have been comparing the Fleshgod Apocalypse sound to be very sort of Dimmu Borgir sounding. How it's like what goes through your head? How do you feel you know, when people, you know, say that you guys sound a lot like Dimmu Borgir?
I think it's pretty normal.
Yeah.
We expected it in some way, and that's why I have to be honest, while we were recording the album and while we were in the studio, we were thinking about it like, okay, we got a lot of symphonic elements right now.
Yeah.
And nowadays the band that comes to your mind first is Dimmu Borgir.
Yeah.
You know, what we have, the differences I would say between us and them, except for the level, of course.
Yeah.
Can be reached or found in the approach of composition and the atmosphere as well.
Yeah.
What we tried to come out with is still the same atmosphere we had on Oracles, our first album.
Yeah.
But our goal is to you know, in some way get that kind of atmosphere with the orchestra and all the, I would say, normal elements, like, you know, guitar, bass and everything, which is more pressure in our way of approaching it, and more death metal taste, I would say. You know, Dimmu Borgir are more like black metal in some way, and even if the symphonic thing can, you know, get the two things near to each other in some way, it's pretty normal, I guess.
Yeah. Now, what gave you guys the idea to wear suits on stage? It's not something that you normally see with metal bands. You know, the only metal band I know, aside from you guys, that wear suits on stage are an unsigned band called Northern Oak from Sheffield. So, you know, like, what gave you guys the idea to wear suits?
That's pretty much part of the concept we have of the band.
Yeah.
From the beginning, we tried to, you know, to design in some way the project as a whole concept, not only musically, but also visually, and also about the lyrics and the concepts, and we like to think about the band as a whole thing, as a whole concept in its way. It's like, you know, we think about it as we are some kind of classical musicians reborn in this era and playing the music, the powerful music we have nowadays, which is pretty much the same you could get in 2 centuries ago with symphonic music, with a powerful symphonic music. That's pretty much the death metal they had at that time, you know, or the extreme metal they had at that time. So that's pretty much what we do. We think about ourselves as classical musicians reborn in this area.
Yeah. Going back to the concept of the band, I'd always sort of like the visual part of it. Is there sort of like an image you're trying to portray with the actual band name, Fleshgod Apocalypse?
Yes, sure. Yeah, the name as well is a part of it.
Yeah.
When we started the project, we wanted to find a moniker which could fit the idea.
Yeah.
Because we started from the idea, basically, and then we developed everything from it. And the moniker is as well thought on this you know, way of thinking. It's pretty much Fleshgod Apocalypse is meant to be the apocalypse of mankind, the God made flesh, which is mankind itself.
Yeah.
Which means the process with which, you know, humanity brings itself to destruction.
Yeah.
It's you could maybe see that as a romantic, I would say a romantic way of composing the idea and the concept.
Yeah.
As in the 19th century and the 18th century, the music was meant to be, you know.
Yeah. Right. Now, aside from the obvious classical and symphonic elements, how do you feel that Fleshgod Apocalypse differs from other death metal bands on the scene?
The differences. I mean, nowadays, the more you go out there around, and the more you tour with other bands, the more you realize that now it's all about just little differences. Just I would say different colors, and it's not easy nowadays to find the differences between a band and each other, unless they are, you know, something specific, like, you know, the core bands, or, which is pretty different, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you find, if you take, I don't know, 10 death metal bands, you have pretty much the same things written and approached in a different way. That's pretty much it. I mean, in our case, what we try to do is write what we like and what we have fun with, in the way we find interesting. So it's pretty much something about curiosity. The first time. We just try to reach a satisfaction from that. Yeah. That's pretty much it. So what you find, the differences you find between us and another band and so on, are pretty much personal, probably personal, you know, point of views. Yeah, that's it.
Right. Now, excluding Fleshgod Apocalypse, who would you say is the best band on the Italian metal scene at the moment?
Okay, if you talk about the metal scene in general or the extreme metal scene, there are for sure a few bands, good bands. I can think about Heart of Penance, for example. They're very good. We are such good friends, but that's not. I'm not saying they're good because we're friends. I'm saying they're good because they are good, of course. I'm sure a lot of people know them. And there are other names which are very interesting. You get Iconoclast, you get the Modern Age Slavery, and for this is about the extreme metal, you know, scene. I enjoy a lot the work of talking about metal in general. The work of Lacuna Coil, for example. I respect them very much. And you got on the other side, it's not my personal you know, music, but you got Rhapsody of Fire on the other side, which are a very good band. You got good bands in general. I could tell you a lot of names, but you know, it's some of those.
Are there any bands or musicians that you'd like to do a collaboration in the future, sort of like, you know, sort of like something different from, you know, what you do with Fleshgod, but you know, not something that would sort of like become your priority?
Oh, you mean if we would love to collaborate with other projects? I mean, in this moment, I can't really think about anything like that, because it's like Fleshgod for us, for all of us in this moment, are really everything. So it's not easy to even think about anything like that in this moment. I'm sure that, you know, in the future things can change, of course, because we all are curious people, interested people, passionate people. So it's like if we don't get too you know, stressed by the lifestyle we are having with Fleshgod, then we're probably gonna have such great things. Hopefully.
How do you feel like the Italian metal scene in general compares to the British metal scene in general?
The British metal scene, to me, for example, is it's weird. Like, you have some of the most known and important bands in the history of metal and music in general, and you, for sure, you have such a great culture from this point of view. And now you have a lot of little things in the underground scene, which are, in some cases, it sounds to me that these little things are trying to reach some American style, you know what I mean? Some other European style, which is weird to me, because I feel like you guys have some of the most important history
Yeah.
you can have, and then I guess it's pretty normal probably because of the you know, fancy styles going on and so on, but you know, it's in Italy it's pretty much the same, you know.
Yeah.
You get a lot of bands, and most of them are trying to reach something already popular.
Yeah.
Which is not really. Yeah, it can work if you do it your way, but it's not really good if you just do it the way some others have done it.
Yeah.
So if I have to compare the two scenes, I would say that probably England has still more opportunities from the cultural point of view.
Yeah.
But Italy is getting bigger from the underground to the outside of the underground nowadays. So we'll see. I'm curious about it.
Yeah. All right. Last question now. What are the band's plans for the rest of the year?
Oh, it's a sweet question. We have after this tour we're gonna play a festival in Norway.
Yeah.
And then back home for just 3 days off, and then we'll fly to South Africa to headline a tour
I know
there.
South Africa's got a pretty decent metal scene going on at the moment.
Yeah. It's gonna be. We're all excited about it. And you know, we're gonna headline a tour there, and then fly from there directly to the US to join a tour with Ulster Parish, Card Effects, Conducting from the Grave, and The Contortionist, which is gonna be good, I'm sure. We're all excited for that as well. After that, we have some time off, which we will use to prepare ourselves for a kind of different thing, because we are doing the Metal Fest in Europe in June, which is kind of different for us because it's big open air festivals. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
And after that, we have some other festivals in Europe, a couple in Germany, one in Austria, and then we're probably going to be back overseas until I would say the end of September. Nothing really specific right now because we have to confirm everything, but it's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And then we are planning to do Europe again. We have a couple of other festivals.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. I don't know. We're talking about different things, but you know, we still have to find out what's going on, because it's the last part of the year. It's going to be pretty busy for sure, but I'm not sure how in this moment.
Yeah. Alright, thanks for that, and good luck with the show tonight and the rest of the tour then.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.